Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Major League Gaming Anaheim StarCraft 2 tournament. I am Nathanius. With me will be Todd, and we're getting into the later hours, but it's good to be on the main stage, see so many faces still here watching StarCraft.
Thanks to you guys for coming here, and my first time here at MLG. Quite glad to be here.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. We have a TVT coming up. You're the Terran resident, so you're going to be explaining.
Excited.
You're going to be doing the analysis here. It's not me. I'm the Protoss guy. I don't know anything about this race here.
No. Terran, of course. Most fun race, right? Got any takers? No? There's some people out there that still play Terran. We're running out, but we're there. So, yeah, it's going to be Polt versus Illusion. And Polt, of course, one of the top players that we've looked at across pretty much any tournament that he competes in, especially his Terran versus Terran has looked pretty sharp in the last few series that he's busted it out in. Mostly in Polt versus non-Korean Terrans, it's been against players like Major, but we had a little bit of a mix-up. I haven't quite seen Illusion face off against him recently.
How do you think Illusion matches up against somebody like Polt, who's just a titan of his race?
I mean, Illusion's crazy. So if there's one thing that
what does that mean?
Like, okay, so we just had a chance to see on the B stream, if you guys weren't watching the Bravo stream, Illusion played a pretty interesting series against Scarlet. He was actually able to take a map, which is crazy when you think about how well Scarlet's been playing in this tournament, particularly against Terrans over the last week or so. But Illusion just does things that just seem to work, even though, you know, to the standard Terran player like me, to my eyes, it doesn't seem like it should.
Okay. I hope we get to see a little bit more of that in those games, so it can come to the picture here. But let's get the game on the way here. We're going to be playing on Frost in our first map. Both players looking extremely focused, as they should be.
They're ready. They're ready for some TVT action, man. That's what it's all about. We are here, as you said, we're loaded into Frost for the first game of this best of three. Still duking it out in Group A here at MLG Anaheim. And our first player in the top right, the red Terran player from CM Storm, it is Polt. So a lot of fans for Captain America in this crowd. His opponent, the American in the southeast from Root Gaming, it is Illusion.
You said Illusion is crazy. Well, how could that come how could he develop that into this game? What could we see that would describe him as crazy in this game? Like some crazy aggression, some crazy all-in, you think?
I can't say in Terran versus Terran that Illusion's very aggressive style, his very topsy-turvy builds have as much of an impact, because most of the aggressive builds in Terran versus Terran these days often come down to early pressure. You have gas-first builds with very fast Hellion attacks, Banshees, and on a map like Frost, Reapers are okay. It looks like both players are going to go Reaper this game, but Illusion's the kind of player I would not be surprised if he did something like a double barracks Reaper play. But in this, against an opponent like Polt, builds like that generally don't seem to work. Okay.
Does he usually play Marine Tank more often than not? I feel like Polt is very hard to go and beat in a TVT in Marine Tank versus Marine Tank situation. I feel like I've almost never seen him lose in that situation.
So the last time that I saw Illusion and Polt play, they were in, I believe it was one of the same groups in WCS America last season, and Illusion went for a very strong push that he kind of mech based in the beginning, but he does prefer in the longer games to play bio. Like Marine Tank, I think, is something that we should see from both of these players. Polt's kind of always been this classical, not really go for
second barracks.
There you go.
He's called crazy. It, man.
He's crazy.
That analysis.
Illusion's that guy to say, this build doesn't make sense. That's exactly why I would do it.
So I guess what he's going to be hoping for here is to catch that first Reaper of Polt, in which case he can really snowball out of control with his Reaper counts, go into his opponent's base, do a lot of damage. And I guess the positioning is pretty good for that to happen as well, with the way he's placed that second barracks. The thing is, Polt is playing it pretty safe. He's getting a second Reaper. He's keeping the first one back at home. Do you think any chance he knows that he's playing against a crazy player, as you called him?
I think if Polt's played on the North American ladder at all, you know who Illusion is. And having that defensive Reaper for Polt on the high ground works out so well. Illusion's Reaper should be able to escape since they move at the same speed, but if he takes 1 or 2 turns, you know, it gets tricky, because Illusion's build relies on not just killing Polt's Reaper, but keeping his own alive. And if he can catch Polt's Reaper coming towards his base, this gives him a chance. He's about to finish up his 3rd and 4th Reaper. They're coming in, but it's not quite ready yet. And Polt, double Reaper, I'd say, is relatively standard for Terran versus Terran. It's not unpopular, to say the least. But if this Reaper gets caught, if those 2 Reapers suddenly find themselves fighting 2v3, things can snowball out of control very quickly.
Yeah, Polt has nothing else than those 2 Reapers on the map right now. So getting the factory and the reactor on the barracks, he's going to be able to start making more units soon. But he's going to have to react very quickly. I guess if he's up the ramp, he sees this coming, it's easier. He can pull some SCVs to really help with this. And Polt has played this so safe. He didn't go too far into the base of his opponent. He didn't sacrifice his Reapers to get some information. He's not going to scan for now. He just prefers to use the mules. And the 4 Reapers are actually revealed here. So this is a big deal.
He's going up to 6 Reapers too. So this is still very, as much as he's gotten his expansion together, Illusion is still very much committed. He kind of wants to do some damage since his tech's been delayed. Like his factory is only just now beginning, whereas Polt, getting his starport soon, could go for play like Banshee and slow down Illusion as he tries to take his expansion.
I'm not a big fan of the Terrans that make the command center, their 2nd command center in their main like this. Like, did he have to do this? Couldn't he make it down on the low ground? He could have baited those Reapers of Polt to maybe come, and then he could have killed him.
I think maybe by keeping as much information hidden as possible, he was hoping that Polt would jump his Reapers up into his base, but cancels the supply depot, kills off one of his opposing Reapers and 4 Hellions. They're not going to have any difficulty shutting this push down. And, you know, it's not even just that he can't deal any more damage with Reapers. He loses a lot of his map control. Yeah. Now Polt, he can safely move these Hellions out. He can go put pressure on. And with this Banshee follow-up coming in, Illusion is forced into a defensive game where he doesn't really have any more aggressive opportunities. He kind of just has to sit in his base for a while.
Illusion really overextended here, but he did spot the starport and the tech lab on it, so I think he should know that there is going to be a cloak Banshee on the way. He sacrifices his last Reaper. He wanted to rejoin his brothers maybe in heaven, but this wasn't particularly supposed to happen, I feel. You want to have as many units as you can. And somehow it doesn't seem ready, just as I said, that he's going to start some turrets. Was a little bit surprised here that he wasn't really getting anything against those Banshees.
You can tell how concerned Illusion is because the majority of the time when you watch players that often go for builds like this, like Jotchi, they really like to get a fast reactor and a tech lab on their barracks once the Reapers are out. But it's been a little bit later. Illusion put out a lot more Marines. He went for a tank faster. You can tell he's a little bit worried about the potential counterattack that Polt could bring with those Hellions. He's worried about the Banshee that's about to come in as well, and it just makes things difficult. This Banshee's here. Polt, of course, he's going to run into this missile turret, but that's resources he had to invest to get this detection. He's still going to lose Marines and Illusion. He won't die to this, but Polt is just slowly building on an incremental lead from the very beginning when that double barracks Reaper play did not do much for him.
What a beautiful main base here. Polt is going to be adding a lot of additional barracks to his initial one. He's getting tanks one at a time. He's getting a reactor on his starport to start pumping out medivacs. And Stimpack is going to start just now. Doesn't have combat shield yet either, but I guess it's pretty clear now that Polt wants to play this as predicted here with Marines and tank for his composition. Whereas Illusion getting a Raven here, what do you make of this? He just wants to be able to defend against the Banshees better. Is it worth it to get that one Raven as is?
I think in Terran versus Terran, Ravens are almost always cost-effective at some point in the game. This Banshee's getting an insane amount of damage, and look at this, even forcing out of the missile turret. Illusion realizes that he's being picked apart slowly by Polt. Polt is not going to make mistakes. He's got good Banshee control, and as soon as the scan runs out, he immediately runs back in, killing more and more Marines. This Banshee's getting upwards of 10 kills so far, Todd, and it still manages to escape.
Yeah, this one has got 6 kills. The other one as well. There has been 8 SCVs killed in total here by Polt, who's going to start a 3rd command center. I guess he feels confident enough to do that, and I think he's right. I mean, he has 2 tanks out on the map right now. He's adding on a lot of extra add-ons on his barracks. Yeah. Illusion is really, he has to play defensively from there, and Polt's quite comfortable against that.
Yeah, like I was saying, he's stuck in a position where he has very few options other than to sit back and turtle. And for Polt, this says, okay, I can get my 3rd command center up. He's getting all of his upgrades, as we pointed out before. And this is a good position to be in for Polt because he doesn't really have to worry about any counterattacks. If Illusion leaves his base, he's suddenly vulnerable to those Banshees potentially coming in again. There's still one on the south side of the map for Polt. These Hellions will see any units that manage to slip out of Illusion's base. And this is where Illusion, now that he's adding on 3 more barracks, he could be looking to just try to overwhelm Polt as this 3rd command center finishes and win the game with just basically a big punch off of this 2 base.
But those barracks came really, really late, actually, to be honest. If you look at the main base of Polt, he's got so many barracks up already. He's going for a lot of Marines with 4 reactors out of 5 barracks. And he's ahead on everything right now. He's got more workers. He's ahead on upgrades, not by too much, having started his 1-1, I guess with his armor a little bit later.
Yeah, so to make this push work, that Raven, maybe a Seeker Missile can help soften up one of the tanks, but without any medevacs, even in this position, there's just a Marine count lead for Polt. He has his own medevacs to heal, and this Banshee, it's going to come over, do a little bit of poking, but there's no real way for Illusion to get to Polt's base. He actually can't run over there, and the Raven gets picked off without being able to expend any of its energy. So, yeah, he can kind of attack this command center, but once this gets lifted up and moved, I really don't feel there's too much potential for Illusion. I'm kind of scared that Polt will just spread his forces out and attack into this once he gets some more units on the high ground.
Yeah, Polt is actually not even trying to catch up on Vikings here. He knows that he's behind with those. And hold on, he's going to go for the attack here. He knows he has to defend this as soon as possible to be able to secure that 3rd base easily. And he's going to do just that. Illusion being pushed back here. I love the map presence by Polt. He's got units everywhere. You see on the bottom left-hand side, he has some Hellion patrolling top left-hand side as well. He's making sure there is no hidden command center that players, when they get into desperate situations, will often make.
And the last thing that Polt wants to do is lose this game for some crazy reason, like a hidden base or some sort of very well-planned drop that swings all the way around the map. But Illusion, his 3rd command center, is going to be finishing up reasonably soon, but he didn't really do any damage to that push. He just lost a lot of his army supply, and now Polt starting to move onto the map. He has his combat shield, he has his stim. Illusion just now getting his combat shield. Polt has his +2 upgrades on the way, and Illusion, as much as it'd be nice for him to get a 3rd base, now he has to start worrying about these tanks pushing on the left side of his main, going for elevator attacks. And I mean, look at this 3rd base. It's beautifully mining. There's not really anything that Illusion can do to contest Polt's economy.
Yeah, Polt is so far ahead on upgrades as well. He started his 2-2 before the 2nd eBay and Armory finishes. For Illusion, who's going to be caught out of position now. He doesn't even have medivacs with his army to try and evacuate. He's dropping in the natural of Polt at the same time.
Yeah, this Marine force not really to be stopped by Polt and Illusion. This medevac drop, it's nice, but I mean, Illusion's had the economy to pump out units nonstop to help reinforce. Even now, the SCV's being brought. Marine's going to take those out, no problem at all. And Illusion, GG's Polt takes game number 1 in this best of 3 Terran versus Terran.
Polt just had so much here. You know, Illusion, I think he wanted to go for some sort of a base trade when he realized that his army was so close to his opponent's base and Polt was about to attack him, but what base trade? I mean, he got held easily with that 1 drop at the natural of Polt, and then Polt just completely crushed through that defense at the natural of Illusion.
He had the siege tank in his natural. He was ready. He was rallying his units to his natural as well. And it really just comes down to Illusion going for a bit of a gamble strategy that oftentimes we don't see in Terran versus Terran. It's largely fallen off because it's not the most difficult attack to stop. When you open up double Reaper, if you don't get caught off guard, especially with how much damage he dealt to the first Reaper that Illusion put on the map, he had to wait until he had those 3 Reapers to really contest Polt's position. If Polt opens up with just maybe 1 Reaper, or he goes for a build like Gas First, or even a 1 Barracks Fast Expand, he might not have enough units that can have like a sustainable amount of health to deal with it. So Illusion's build, a bit too risky, I feel, for such a solid opponent as Polt.
Looking at this game, it really felt like Polt kind of knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it yourself. He might have played versus Illusion before on ladder, but I guess we'll never know. In this case, though, when you know what your opponent's going for and he's hoping for a mistake from you, it's almost going to be impossible every single time to be able to pull it off. And in this case, I feel like he was maybe a little bit surprised that Polt was doing everything so perfectly that he got maybe a little bit upset, moved up there with the Reapers, and took a fight he shouldn't take, just thinking, I know I shouldn't take this fight, but I'm going to take it anyway, just because this is going so bad. And then he lost all of his Reapers.
He felt like he was being forced into making a rough decision. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break before we move into game number 2. You're watching MLG Anaheim 2014. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.